Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Snake Doc here with my newest addition. And if you read the video title, you would know what's going to be inside this holster. So, I picked this up from a local gentleman who was kind enough to sell me this at a very reasonable price. And I decided I really wanted to do a video on it. There's quite a few very thorough videos about this model on YouTube, but I just kind of want to do an overview for my channel since I have done some Milsurp pistols in the past on here, and I think some of my subscribers appreciate that. And these are harder and harder to get, so let's kind of show what it came with. So it came with an original holster here, and in the holster you can see it's marked P35P, which designates that it is a Polish model P35, which is different than the 35 high power. And here you can see the Nazi insignia. They call it the Waffenamt or Waffenamt, however you would say it, or Waffen. And you'll see those again on the pistol itself. So let's take a look at that. So we have one magazine. Unfortunately, it'd be nice to get two because the mags are very, very expensive unless you get a Circle K aftermarket. This seems like it'd be a really simple mag to make though. So I guess it's just because these are becoming more scarce, even though they created a lot of these guns, that an aftermarket company hasn't really stepped up, a quality aftermarket company. But this is very similar to a 1911 mag, which this gun, when we look at the parts legend here that I have printed out, you'll see a lot of parts that are very, very similar to 1911. You do have witness holes on this. This is an 8-round magazine in 9mm Luger or 9x19. And this does have a marking on here. I don't know if I'm going to get it to show up. Let's see. I don't know. It's not a huge deal if it doesn't, but a lot of times you'll have unmarked base plates, and this one actually has the mark, the appropriate mark that it should have. It does have a follower stop right here, so it will lock open after the last shot is fired. And it is a non-easily disassembled construction. You can see here where they have done some press pinning to hold the base plate on. And it's not the simple tilt follower like on the 1911 where you can just pull the mag follower down and stick a punch in there in the spring, and then the follower you can shake it out. So a little more complex than that. So what this is basically is the Polish military sidearm that started way back in like 1935, and then it continued on through World War II. And what happened was the Germans had overtaken Poland, and they really liked this pistol, so they continued to manufacture the pistol, and then it went through various changes of location for final assembly, including the Steyr plant in Austria. So what we have here is a 2-lever, if you will. It doesn't have the 3rd lever, which is the disassembly lever, but as production went on and the guns needed to be put into the hands of soldiers faster than it would take to have the full original design. Let me show you that. So if we look at right here, it would be this part right here, this part number 24, and then they actually call it the takedown latch disassembly lever. So what you do on this one instead is you pull your slide back, and it's easier if you cock the hammer on this, but if you pull your slide back and push down on your decocker, it'll catch on your hammer and hold it in the right spot. So a lot of people fail to mention that in the video, but that is the improved design, if you will, over having that bulky 3rd lever on there, which wasn't obtrusive or anything like that. It's just, you know, it was easier to not make that part and just use pins instead. So to get that to release, all you're doing is just retract your slide a little bit. And then here's how the decocker function works. It's very similar to like a Beretta 92. or a Jericho pistol that has the slide lever, and it just decocks like that. And what it actually does when it decocks is it pulls the firing pin, which is spring loaded. There we can see. Let me shine a light on there. And if you watch, that's not going to show up that well, is it? Let's try right here. There you can see. So it pulls it in, so when the hammer falls, it's just going to smack the back of the slide. It's not going to strike the firing pin. So it's a safe decock. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Rudimentary sights. The front sight is part of the slide. It is milled on this fancy little vent rib, if you will, but there's no vent, so I guess we'll just call it a rib. And there's like a very fine cross hatch checkering pattern in that. There you can see it. And then the rear sight is very similar to the 1911 GI style, but it's more of a V-notch instead of an actual opening. Front sight is super tiny. There you can see how small it is, so very, very small. But I do find this gun easy to shoot when you can see a visible background, like a nice bright white background, or whatever your intended target is. Checkering on the magazine catch, magazine release, and it is almost identical in construction to a 1911. You can see here, this is a later version that wasn't one of the very, I guess some of the 1930s Polish versions are considered to be very, very pretty guns. And, you know, Polish Tokarevs are known to be very good-looking guns as well. But as production needed to become a little more hasty, you can see where some of the milling suffered. But it's not rough or anything like that. It's still a really nice overall. It's a really nice looking gun. This has Bakelite grips on it, and they are brown. It's hard to see, but these are a very, very dark brown. Let's see if I can get it to kind of show you that as opposed to the frame. And on this side it says FB, which is like Fabrica Brony. And then this side is the VIS, which is this pistol is the VIS 35. Made in Radom. Radom. Some people call these the Radom because Radom, Poland, is where the factory was that initially built these. So it has the lanyard loop, grip safety on it, commander style hammer with a ring. One thing that other people don't mention either, and I don't know if this is only on the later ones, but there is a quarter cock notch, and that disables the gun. It's almost like the safety on the Tokarev. If you put it in half cock, locks the gun up, and this does the same thing. Let's see. Yeah, it even locks the slide. So that is a safety of sorts, you could say, since it basically disables the gun. So it has a fixed barrel bushing on it, similar to a high power, where what they did is they mill out the slide and then they take a bushing and it's pressed in there. And I've heard that it might even be pinned, and then they just ground down where the pin is, and then when they blew it, you can't see it. But I don't know if that's true, because I cannot find any spot on here where the pin would be to hold that bushing. Let me see if I can bring this in closer and kind of show off some of the markings on here. But this one says, let's see if I can get some more light and not make it horrible for you guys. So FB Radom VIS Mod 35 patent number. And here you can see another Waffen stamp right here. There you see it. And then there's another one right here at the front that says 77 under it. And then one on the frame right here that has the same thing that says 77. This back says, I think it's 623. This pistol is all parts matching, and the parts are stamped on them. The barrel only has 3 numbers, even though your serial number is 4 plus a prefix. So what they'll do is they'll take the last 3 numbers as the serial, and that is on the barrel. It's not visible from the hood. It's actually visible on by the lug. And then your grip safety is numbered. So here's my number on mine that matches. The underside of the slide next to the pickup rail is numbered. So slide frame, barrel. I'm trying to think. I think I'm forgetting. Oh, the mainspring housing. The mainspring housing is also numbered to the gun. Not on a visible spot though, so you would need to do a detail strip to be able to see that. Mine looks a little bit different up front, and I'll explain that here in just a second. Let's go to the parts diagram, and I will show you one of the things that made the VIS kind of innovative, if you will, was the fact that you can see here it used a multi-piece recoil spring assembly. So what it has is your main recoil rod, and then like a bushing or a washer that slides down to the end. Then an internal spring that goes in this hollow rod, an external spring, the tail piece, which is spring loaded by this one, and then a dog bone pin that is this end piece right here is slotted, and this dog bone holds the whole thing together. So later years, what they did was they got rid of that and they just made a one-piece assembly that didn't have that telescoping function. The reason it telescopes like that is because it holds pressure against your slide stop right here, and that is what holds your pistol together. So it's not like on the 1911 where you can pull the slide back and just push this out by your finger. When this is retracted, you actually have to pull on your guide rod to relieve spring tension off of that, and then you just tip your pistol on the side while you have that spring tension relieved, and your slide stop will fall right out. The guy that I got this from had the later one-piece recoil spring, and the gun did not run. It would fire, but it would not cycle reliably, I'll say. But he also had given me a Wolf recoil spring for this. So I took a, hang on one second, I'm gonna go grab it. Okay, so what I did was I went and bought a grade 8 stainless bolt. It's 1/4 inch, and it's like this shank right here is over 4.5. I think this is a 5-inch overall bolt. And I had somebody give me dimensions, and I just massaged it on a belt sander and a grinder and a Dremel, and I ended up, shortening it down and made my own recoil spring, or guide rod for the recoil spring. So here's what the Wolf spring came in, and I'll show you the one that was in the gun. So this is the one that was in the gun, and you can see I can't shrink it or anything. It's not spring loaded in that regard, but it's captured. And this one is not now, the one that I have in there. It's like a full-length guide rod with a recoil spring on it, like you would have in a Beretta 92 or something like that, CZ75. So it wasn't really hard to do. It's a nice, it functions 100% now. So that's cool, right? They say necessity is the mother of invention. So let me pull that back and show you, though. I didn't shorten it quite as short as I should, so I could, I could still shorten that up and make it in there, make that fit a little bit better to the end of the muzzle. And also you'll notice that the opening for that is just a little bit bigger than the end of that, so I could, maybe weld on a sleeve or something on that if I needed to. But I don't, because it functions really good. So, and it's not like I'm going to be shooting this a ton. But it is a very soft shooter because it is a big, heavy steel gun. We'll throw it on the scale real quick. Let's put the mag in there. We'll just leave the magazine empty just so we get an overall weight on it. And let's see, I think you can read that. So we're in ounces. So it's almost 37 ounces, 36 3/4 ounces unloaded. And it's only an 8-shot pistol. So it's heavier than like a loaded Glock 17. I'm pretty sure when my Glock 17 was loaded, it was like 32 ounces. So it's heavy, but because of that, it's a very soft shooter. And it's all steel construction. Let's pull up the parts diagram here and show you what it borrows. If you've ever detail stripped a 1911 or watched a video on it, you can see 3-finger spring, the trigger bow assembly, the hammer and the hammer strut. I already talked about the magazine release, the internal extractor that you can see an outline of the half moon right here, kind of. And so that's basically the same. We have a sear and a disconnector right here. The ejector is actually down the center though of the frame. So I don't think I'll be able to show you. Let's try it though. Oh yeah, I can show you here. So when we have the chamber open, let me pop the mag out and then you should be able to see right through it. There you can see the ejector right there in the middle. It's right down the center. So it may be very, very, very slightly offset to the left, but it's basically down the center of the pistol, which is kind of unusual. Mainspring housing with a mainspring held in by a pin and a cap, same thing. What else? Slide stop is similar. The barrel has locking lugs on it, but it does not have swinging link, so it actually has the drop lug on it like a high power eventually, and like the high power ended up with. Firing pin retained by the rear plate, but it's also retained by the decocker, so that's going to be somewhat different. Grip screw bushings and grip screws, and overall ergonomics very, very similar. It's sort of a wedge style grip, which is not really what the grip is. It's just the way that they made the plastic grips, so it makes it look like that, but very, very ergonomic and very comfortable. I can see why they really were kind of crazy about it when they got their hands on it. It just feels right. It just feels really right. Let's take a look at the trigger action real quick on it. We know we're dealing with a safe firearm. We'll go ahead and take the mag out and just stick that down here. So it is single action only. There is no double action function on this, so you can only operate from a fully cocked hammer. So grip safety needs to be depressed. I can just do it like this so I can show you here. And there's take up right here a little bit, and you're at a pretty heavy wall. My next push drops the hammer. I don't know weight. It's got to be probably 6 pounds at least, I would think. But it's a really easy gun to shoot. It does not have any serrations or anything on the front of the trigger, so it's just nice and smooth. Everything about this is nice and smooth. Look at the mainspring housing, very smooth. Grip safety is very smooth. Front strap is very smooth, but the texturing of the diamond style pattern on here gives you really good grip. And with the gun being so heavy and it only shooting 9mm, it doesn't move around at all in your hand. So I think we covered pretty much everything. I mean, like I said, there's plenty of videos out there by like historian guys who have just gone crazy with giving you every bit of information that they can possibly know about these. Really, really cool gun. I've always seen them. I've never had an opportunity to own one, and then it kind of popped up, so I had to grab it. I don't know exactly what I'll do with it other than, keep it in the collection. I don't know that I'll shoot it very often, but it's just such a unique piece that I would like to show it off. And there you can see like the bluing on it, and you can see that the milling and stuff has marks, but it's really dependent on how you're looking at it. This one has a little bit of muzzle wear where some of the finish is gone right here and stuff like that, but it's not a gun that I would refinish. It's not a gun that I would use touch-up bluing on or anything, because this is just kind of the way it is. So what I'm going to do now, and I'm not going to do this on camera, but I'm going to take it down and give it a good cleaning, because it was kind of dirty when I got it, and I've only fired like 3 mags through it. So I'm going to take that apart. I'm not going to do that on video, but I will probably make a short and show you the field strip procedure. So stay tuned for that on my channel if that's something that you're interested in seeing, especially with my custom made guide rod, right? So again, hopefully I didn't bore anybody with it. I know it's a 20-minute video, but I think this gun has a lot of fans and a lot of people that are interested in it. Prices have gotten really crazy on these. If you look at sold prices on Gunbroker, I don't think I've seen one go for less than $950. And if it was either a parts gun or a basket case, or it had been refinished or something, you know. This one is, I won't even say what I paid, but it was a smoking deal that I just couldn't pass up. So very, very happy to have that. Very happy to have a holster. I wish I had the second mag, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. So thank you guys for watching. Always shoot safe, and I really appreciate you guys hanging in with me. I'm gonna try and have a giveaway coming soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I've got a couple holsters that I'd like to do giveaways on that I know I'm not gonna use. So hopefully somebody out there, one of my subscribers, can benefit from that. So same rules will apply on that. It'll just be a random draw. So again, thank you guys for watching, and always shoot safe.